Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou, moon, in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. And he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places, in the cities of Judah, and in the places round about Jerusalem, them also that burned incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven. Deuteronomy 17. Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord thy God any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any evil-favouredness, for that is an abomination unto the Lord thy God. If there be found among you within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman, that hath wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God, in transgressing his covenant, and hath gone and served other gods, and worshipped them, either the sun or moon, or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded. And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord...
This is one of the main things that bothers me about the church of today, is they subscribe to all the philosophy of men and the traditions of the world. The word planet is only mentioned at one time in Scripture, as I showed at the beginning of this video, and it's referring to Baal worshippers. The Bible doesn't speak of planets, which kind of puts a hindrance on the solar system, doesn't it? It speaks of the sun and the moon. And Joshua, which I showed earlier as well, commanded the sun and the moon to stand still in the sky, meaning they're moving, not the earth. Now this might seem petty to some believers, but I don't think so, because you're talking about worshiping the Most High Creator versus worshiping Baal and the philosophies of men. Amongst Christmas and Easter, which is both related to Baal worship, Ishtar being the fertility goddess, Nimrod's wife, and Christmas being the sun worship of the winter solstice on December 22nd, when the sun reaches its lowest point in the sky and stays there for 3 days until December 25th and then ascends. When the Catholic Church took over a long time ago, they incorporated this pagan worship of Saturnalia, and they didn't want to make war with the pagans that celebrated this, so they just called it Christ's birthday. Now, if the church wants to call this petty and the Lord knows what's in your heart and everything like that, I would challenge that, because I'm going to show you in the rest of this video how much he hates when people worship the hosts of heaven, aka what science calls the planets. There's a divine council in heaven. There's more than just God and the angels. In the book of Romans, where it talks about we wrestle not against flesh and blood, it lists 4 different kinds of entities: principalities, powers, spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. So you have to understand that there's a divine council that take orders from God, and there's some that rebel, as did Satan. So I challenge the church to come out of Babylon and quit celebrating pagan holidays and quit worshiping the hosts of heaven, as the philosophy of men has told you so. See, that's science's main objective. We teach our kids this in school, and they get indoctrinated, and thus become atheists or not believers in God when they hear about this vast universe full of planets and possible life.
They left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. Also, again he said, Therefore hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne, and all the host of heaven standing on his right hand and on his left. Thou, even thou, art Lord alone. Thou hast made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all their host, the earth and all things that are therein, the seas and all that is therein, and thou preservest them all, and the host of heaven worshippeth thee. And they shall spread them before the sun and the moon, and all the host of heaven, whom they have loved, and whom they have served, and after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered, nor be buried. They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth. Because they have forsaken me, and have estranged this place, and have burned incense in it unto other gods, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, nor the kings of Judah, and have filled this place with the blood of innocents. They have built also the high places of Baal, to burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings unto Baal, which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither came it into my mind. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that this place shall no more be called Tophet, nor the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. And I will make void the counsel of Judah and Jerusalem in this place, and I will cause them to fall by the sword before their enemies, and by the hands of them that seek their lives. And their carcasses will I give to be meat for the fowls of the heaven, and for the beasts of the earth. And I will make this city desolate, and an hissing. Every one that passeth thereby shall be astonished, and hiss because of all the plagues thereof. And I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons, and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat every one the flesh of his friend in the siege and straitness wherewith their enemies, and they that seek their lives, shall straiten them. Then shalt thou break the bottle in the sight of the men that go with thee, and shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, even so will I break this people and this city, as one breaketh a potter's vessel, that cannot be made whole again, and they shall bury them in Tophet, till there be no place to bury. Thus will I do unto this place, saith the Lord, and to the inhabitants thereof, and even make this city as Tophet. And the houses of Jerusalem, and the houses of the kings of Judah shall be defiled as the place of Tophet, because of all the houses upon whose roofs they have burned incense unto all the host of heaven, and have poured out drink offerings unto other gods. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt, in Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, and our princes in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals, and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her, and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men? Then Jeremiah said unto all the people, to the men and to the women, and to all the people which had given him that answer, saying, The incense that ye burned in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem, ye and your fathers, your kings and your princes, and the people of the land, did not the Lord remember them, and came it not into his mind? So that the Lord could no longer bear because of the evil of your doings, and because of the abominations which ye have committed? Therefore is your land a desolation, and an astonishment, and a curse, without an inhabitant, as at this day. Because ye have burned incense, and because ye have sinned against the Lord, and have not obeyed the voice of the Lord, nor walked in his law, nor in his statutes, nor in his testimonies. Therefore this evil is happened unto you as at this day. Moreover, Jeremiah said unto all the people and to all the women, Hear the word of the Lord, all Judah, that are in the land of Egypt. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saying, Ye and your wives have both spoken with your mouths, and fulfilled with your hands, saying, We will surely perform our vows that we have vowed, to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. Ye will surely accomplish your vows, and surely perform your vows.
So who was this Queen of Heaven? It says here it appears in the Bible twice, in Jeremiah, which I just played. Entire families worship this. And for the Queen of Heaven, this title referred to Ishtar, an Assyrian and Babylonian goddess. She's called by other names, but she was the wife of the false god Baal, known as Moloch. And the motivation of the women to worship this thing as a fertility goddess. You see a lot of ancient symbolism and statues to this Ishtar. One that you should be aware of, though, is this one. Ishtar/Eastar is where we get the eggs of the fertility goddess. Saturnalia, the ancient Roman festival of Saturn in December, which was a period of general merrymaking and was the predecessor of Christmas. And the Christmas tree is also an ancient pagan fertility symbol. It represents a phallic, which you can look that up and find out what it means. But most Americans will gather around a Christmas tree on December 25th without having any idea why we practice this tradition or where it came from. The truth is, the Christmas tree and the decorations that we put on it have roots in pagan fertility traditions. The Queen of Heaven. There it is again. So I'm not shunning Christ's birthday and the celebration of it or his resurrection. What I'm shunning is the replacement of it and the Christianization of these pagan holidays and how they're all related to the Queen of Heaven, Baal worship that's strictly forbidden in the Bible. So Christians, take note. Don't do this. It's no wonder we're ridiculed by the non-believers, because they can have researched this stuff and found out this for themselves. And so it's no wonder they don't believe, because we're all partaking in pagan traditions. We can see Christmas trees up on the stage in churches and stuff.
Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.